In the past, it was really bad for the first generation of Volkswagen's electric vehicles. We agree that the company has a long history of designing cars that people truly enjoy driving. But the thing is, their early EVs fell far short of that standard. Even Volkswagen itself admits that those initial models weren't exactly what most drivers were looking for. However, the company is now fully aware of these shortcomings and is promising to turn things around in a big way. So, let's dive into the video and see what they actually mean when they say likable EVs. Volkswagen's design boss, Andreas Mindt, recently shared some exciting updates in an interview with Automotor Unsport. He explained that the era of awkwardly designed EVs, cars that some joked looked more like futuristic appliances than vehicles, is over. The company is shifting focus to create electric cars that feel familiar, approachable, and most importantly, likable. This change marks an important step as Volkswagen moves past the early adopter phase of EVs and into the mainstream market. By returning to its roots of crafting smart, desirable vehicles, Volkswagen aims to win over everyday drivers once again. But what does likable actually mean for EVs? I mean, it's one thing to throw the word around, but what really makes an electric car likable? For some people, it might mean reliability. For others, it's all about how the car looks. That's why Volkswagen has leaned on timeless design principles, like the 3/5 rule and the golden ratio when shaping their ID.Every1. These principles are known to naturally please the human eye, creating cars that not only perform well, but also spark excitement and pride when you see them parked in your driveway. But the brand isn't just focusing on looks. They've taken a hard look at the past and are determined to learn from their mistakes. Just think for a moment about those awkward EVs of the early days that looked more like experiments than actual cars. Back then, some early EVs gave up key practical features, like front-end space, simply because the combustion engine was no longer under the hood. Sure, that space was no longer needed, but the result was less functional cars. Volkswagen's new approach is addressing these problems head-on. Their goal is to create EVs that are not only practical and well-designed, but also enjoyable to own and drive for everyday people. Volkswagen is clearly on a mission to redefine what likable means by tackling every possible aspect of the word. They are blending reliability, style, usability, and smart engineering to craft EVs that don't feel like a sacrifice, but instead feel like a step into the future. Andreas Mindt, Volkswagen's head of design, had a brilliant insight when it came to designing electric vehicles. An electric car doesn't have a combustion engine, but a small electric motor, so I don't need a hood. I make the hoods very short and add a sloping, long windshield. This innovative design choice gave the cars a sleek and modern look. However, it came with an unexpected challenge. When the car was exposed to direct sunlight for a long time, the interior would heat up quickly. This meant the car had to use energy from its high-voltage battery to power the cooling system, draining precious electrons. It wasn't an ideal situation, but it became an important learning moment for Volkswagen. So, is physical design the only focus for Volkswagen? Not at all. While sleek and innovative design elements like shorter hoods and sloping windshields are essential, Volkswagen is also working hard to rebuild its brand identity. The company isn't just focused on how its cars look on the outside, but also how people feel about the brand as a whole. They want to recapture the charm and personality that once made their vehicles relatable and fun, something that connected customers deeply to the Volkswagen name. You might remember the Unpimp Your Ride commercials from about 20 years ago, where Volkswagen was seen as a cool, approachable, and likable brand. That's the kind of personality they're aiming to bring back. Above all, we must derive the character from our identity, from the VW identity, says Mindt. Think of brands like Porsche, which is all about speed, or Lamborghini, known for its aggressive designs. For Volkswagen, the goal is to be the most likable of all, creating cars and a brand identity that feels warm, friendly, and fun to interact with. To achieve this, Volkswagen is moving away from its current futuristic-sounding naming system, like the ID designation for their vehicles, which might feel a bit too robotic or cold. Instead, they're bringing back real car names that are easier to connect with. While the upcoming ID.Every1 might still change its name, the plan is to give future models titles that feel more human and inviting. Along with these approachable names, Volkswagen's new designs will aim to be fun and bubbly, steering away from spaceship-like aesthetics. At this point, it's clear that Volkswagen's decision to rethink its strategy is more than just a marketing tweak. For years, the brand has struggled with staying relevant and boosting sales, especially in the US market. The key to its earlier successes was approachability, a quality that made cars like the Beetle such global icons. The Beetle wasn't the fastest or most practical car, but people adored it because it was fun, friendly, and accessible. Volkswagen came close to recapturing that magic with the ID.Buzz, but the pricing and value didn't quite hit the mark. Now, the leadership at VW seems to understand that building a more relatable and inviting brand is the secret to connecting with customers again. The big question, though, is whether they can actually make this vision a reality. Let us know in the comments what you think of this promise made by Volkswagen. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video and make sure to subscribe and press the bell icon so you don't miss our next videos. Goodbye.